welcome back to the Ranch. Dr. Uptown here. I'm going to do sort of a video response, sort of a straight video. The Shermandale Channel was running a 100 sub contest here, and it ended yesterday, and I wasn't able to get a video out in time to go ahead and enter it. But he posed a fairly interesting question, so what I decided to do was go ahead and answer that and go a little more in depth with it. His basic question was, what do you prefer, a hammer-fired or striker-fired pistol? So I've got a few of them out here. As far as his question goes, my preference is to the hammer-fired pistol, 1911 here, obviously. And with the hammer-fired pistol, the nice thing about it is you know when it isn't cocked, because the hammer is visible. And therefore that allows you to plainly see that the pistol is cocked. Therefore, if you pull the trigger and it subsequently fires and you don't get a response from your ammunition, you know you either have a firing pin problem or a ammunition problem. That as opposed to a striker-fired pistol, a Glock 22 here, where you can't see. Oh, you also notice that it has a training barrel in it right now. But there's no indicator in the back that would tell you when that pistol is cocked, and the reason behind that is with the Glock particularly, you run basically a double action only kind of situation, where your trigger pull, as you pull the trigger back, it is actually pushing the firing pin back, and then when it gets to a point where it breaks off, it releases that firing pin to move forward. On the Springfield Xd, and this one is loaded, so I will not be pulling the trigger on it. This is my everyday carry. On the Springfield Xd, you do have a cocked indicator at the back. And the reason behind that is because the Springfield works on a single action principle, where when the slide is pulled back, the striker is left in a cocked position, and then pulling the trigger activates mechanisms that release that firing pin. Whereas with the Glock, the firing pin is always in a ready position, but not back in a cocked position like a single action, and simply recocking the pistol resets the trigger and resets the firing pin so that it is in that ready position to be pushed back as the trigger is pulled back. Like I say, this is a training barrel, so we know that it's unloaded. The other hammer situation you run into is with a Revolver. Now, this is an old 1953 Smith & Wesson K38, and you'll notice that it has a little tang on it. And what that is actually the firing pin itself. When the hammer is released, that engages in and strikes the back, or strikes the primer on your cartridge, causing the firing. Now, newer generation pistols, this is a smooth hammer, and the mechanism is actually down in here to allow the firing pin to strike the primer. So that's basically what you run into. Like I say, my preference would be toward a hammer pistol, but as I said, the XD is my everyday carry, and it does have the cocking indicator. And so I get kind of a 2-for-1. I get a striker-fired type pistol with a visual indicator that tells me that the pistol is cocked and ready to fire. Also, with the striker-fired pistols, one of the things you run into, and particularly those of you who are familiar with tap rack bang drills, you fired your pistol and you had a malfunction. Typically, you'd slam the mag, rack it, and then attempt to fire it again. However, on occasion, you'll get a situation where your slide will lock back, or will stop its forward motion back into battery, just out of battery like this, and the typical remedy to that is just to come up and pop the back end of the pistol and force it into battery. And that it was definitely an advantage that you have with a striker fire over a hammer fire pistol. And it is possible to come up and hit the back of the pistol like that. However, you do have all these other appendages sticking out that are possibly going to injure you while you're doing that. So that is one advantage to a striker fired pistol is coming in from behind to smack that dude back into battery. So anyway, on to answer Shermandale's question. Like I say, I would prefer the hammer fired system versus over the striker fired, with exception of like the XD, where you do have a cocked indicator that visually allows you to see that it's cocked. I prefer that over the Glock type system. And like I say, several other manufacturers use this same type system as Glock, but I prefer that over the Glock type system just simply because you cannot see what the firing pin is doing during the engagement. So anyway, that's my video on my preference, hammer versus striker fired. I hope you guys find this interesting. We'll talk to you later, and you have a good day.